Ajá.
So I guess we have to start with
No, la pregunta de él es sobre cómo es su experiencia en la liga profesional china.
because in Japanese we have Go.
Yes.
But Chinese we have so many questions like
Oh, okay.
how is it for you?
Definitely want to talk about, and that's something that are probably really good in a good position to talk about.
Eso es de lo que le gusta hablar y que además siente que tiene bastante que decir.
So how easy to just tell your own story. So I'll start from talk about how I get to study the Go game, how I get started, and how I get started.
Entonces, si les parece bien que empiece desde eso, de cómo fue su entrenamiento, después empieza ahí.
So I learned this game by really accident. I was 9 years old, never heard Go.
A los 9 años, porque nunca había todavía escuchado hablar de Go.
My father was a Chinese chess player.
Su padre es un ajedrecista chino.
It's different than the Western chess. Chinese chess is a little bit different.
Shanxi.
Shanxi, yes.
El ajedrez chino. Jugaba el ajedrez chino.
Yeah, and I watched him play, and he told me how the horse moved,
Que
like
mostraba cómo se movía el caballo.
Yeah, so I thought I know how to play chess, Chinese chess. So one day,
Sentía que sabía.
One day when I was third grader, and my teacher in the class says that now they are recruiting people to study Chinese chess and Go, called Wei Qi in China. Anyone wants to learn.
En tercer grado, el profesor dijo, bueno, estamos juntando gente que tenga ganas de estudiar ajedrez chino, el Go, el ajedrez occidental.
Ojo con normal.
That's everything's free in China. We don't have money to pay, and everything is free.
So
And
you will teach us Shanxi?
yeah, they teach
No, you will
Shanxi.
teach us.
Oh, I know a little bit. I know how to play. Not very good at. So I raised my hand and I said, I know how to play Chinese chess, Xiangqi, so I'm going to learn Xiangqi. So they write that.
Dijo, yo sé ajedrez chino. Y la anotaron.
So I went in this place. It's in China. Weiqi or Go, Chinese chess and chess. They belong. It's a competition. So all the competition belongs to the Chinese sports committee.
Entonces,
so it's part of the sport.
Fue a un lugar que era del comité de deportes chino, donde hacían estas tres disciplinas.
Like football.
Ajá. O sea, ya era bien considerado deporte oficialmente.
So what is so for you?
And 1975. Yeah. So but I went with our schoolmates, and there was 3 lines, one for Chinese chess, for Go, and for Western chess, and
Había 3 filas.
yeah.
China.
And that was the first time I saw the Go board.
Y es la primera vez que vi un tablero de Go.
And I still remember, and I was so impressed, though I don't know what was, and there were so many lines.
Tantas y tantas líneas tenía.
And so and then when they tried to group them together, they said all the girls will study Wei Qi.
No. Sí, ahora directamente.
Claro.
Study Xiangqi. My Chinese chess knowledge is still by watching my mom play.
O sea, todo lo que sabe de eso fue del Shang-Chi, fue mirando a su padre.
Yeah, so I didn't really know anything. It wasn't my parents, so said that's fine. So I just learned start to learn the rules. And I was interested in Weiqi, and it was quick. After like 2 months, and there was a full in the beginning. There was a full room of the kids, three different teams, and after 2 months, I was like probably the only couple of students left between Xiangqi, Weiqi, and Western kids. Everyone else just dropped.
From all three disciplines?
Yeah.
Ok, entonces ella le interesó, así que se puso a aprender las reglas y vio que de repente al tercer mes más o menos, de todas las disciplinas solamente quedaban un par de personas. Todos los demás iban abandonando.
I don't know why. I guess that was the free program. People if they are not really so interested, they have find something else to do. They just drop.
You mean it was a free program? No?
Yeah, every program all the time for the kids program is free, and because it's free, they didn't pay much and they didn't pay anything, so they didn't drop. So.
Claro, entonces este fenómeno de que si es gratis tal vez no les interesaba tanto o no les interesaba tanto del principio y igual estaban ahí. So, do you feel, when there are many students, did you feel that you were in the top in the group?
I wasn't even feel that because everyone just disappeared.
Okay, but so, like after 3 months they disappeared.
2 months they disappeared.
2 months.
Yeah.
Después de 2 meses desapareció todo el mundo, salvo un par.
Yeah, I almost the only one left, and there's a couple of them they continue a little bit and then they drop.
Entonces, sorry again.
So after 2 months, I have like 2-3 students stayed, and I was the only one who keep studying, and then the others also dropped.
Entonces, quedaron 3 después de 2 meses y después de 2 meses los otros también abandonaron y ya se estudiaron.
So I remember what actually really interested me is when I learned the ladder. I remember I had a dream.
Una vez cuando hicieron la escalera tuvo sueños con la escalera y tener ese tipo de sueños le pareció muy interesante, muy cool.
In the beginning, really interested in the game, and that's why. Then it's on and off because the program teams go left, and there's some other students that they learn. They've been learning for a couple of years. They're much stronger. I remember there was a boy really, and he will give me 9 stone handicap, and he will beat me easily, and he keep talking to me into the trap and capture me.
Okay, entonces, bueno, había tan poca gente que los juntaban con gente que por ahí venía estudiando de antes, les daban 9 piedras y bueno, tenía este chico que jugaba, que además de jugar mucho más, encima le hablaba y le hablaba para que entrara en sus trampas y bueno, y tenía todo tipo de artimañas. Y ella sentía que le gustaba estudiar.
I guess everyone has that experience. When you're awake, you get the stronger players just not as nice. The kids, boys, not like nice as you guys, and they're just trying to make you suffer.
Cosas de chicos, son un poquito menos controlados con el comportamiento y la cortesía.
Okay, so long story short, and I was interested represent our city to play in the provincial tournament, and at the tournament I did well, and my provincial team coach think that I'm a good potential player, and from that time, then we'll move on to the next stage.
Entonces, todo eso llevó a un torneo provincial en el que le fue muy bien y entonces su profesor le dijo, si vos tenés potencial como para ir al siguiente nivel.
Okay, by the way, I don't want to forget that later on, I didn't figure out the girl player has to play Go instead of anything else. It's because at the time there was a martial, it's really high level outcome. The political officers, like a marshal, is in charge of the army, and he really liked to play Go. But at the time, the Japanese Go is much stronger than China. Or China's British Go is
O sea, eventualmente descubrió por qué habían dicho todas las chicas juegan Go. Y parece que, digamos, en altos niveles de la milicia, del ejército, había un comandante o un marshal que le gustaba mucho jugar Go y sigue. So this guy likes to play Go.
He likes to play Go, and he knows we have a huge gap between the male players.
Y él sabía que había mucha diferencia entre los chinos y los japoneses en la hora de Go.
They said we'll teach the girls because the gap is smaller.
This is before UAP, right? Before UAP one.
Yeah, before.
Vamos a enseñarle a las chicas porque la diferencia es menor y va a ser más fácil ganarles a las japonesas.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. That's just as well. And so anyway, when I was about 11 years old, I left the home. I left the home to another city, and they have a team. It's like semi-professional. So what you do is basically it's a boarding school. You live there, and in the morning, after morning you will study academics like school, but you only study math and
Estoy en una escuela donde a la mañana o sea, es como una escuela, digamos, por mis, y entonces a la mañana tenés escuela, digamos, pero digamos, enseñan matemática, basically math and
the Chinese.
claro, matemática y chino, básicamente. O sea, el lenguaje y matemática básicamente es lo que te da de lo escolar.
And in the afternoon, and you will train whatever you are for being swimming, and then we have a swimming team,
En la tarde era
a football team,
todo para la disciplina y deportes.
basketball team, volleyball team, so it's all together. It's all youngsters that have potentially, they select them, and you live in the dorm with the team, and you get up at 6 a.m. to running for physical training. Even if you have to do that, and then your breakfast, you go to study math and reading.
La parte deportiva la tenían que hacer todos.
Yeah, it's because it's very important. Well, I think the national team do it as well. If you run, you can concentrate more, right?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just everyone has to, so they don't want to give it Go as an exception. Right, so
Me pregunta si le ayuda a la concentración, tanto entrenamiento, y ella dice, no sé, pero todos lo tenemos que hacer.
So the 400 meters run six circle.
Sorry?
400 meter.
2.4 kilometers.
Ok.
¿Cuánto menos?
2.4 kilómetros tenían que correr.
Six circle. It's challenge, but you manage. So anyway, I was there for a brief of time, and then my provincial team really wanted to have me to have a 4-day training. So by 12 years old, moved to same city, moved. They train.
Entonces la llevaron a otro lado para tener entrenamiento de 4 días. So 4 days a week.
No, for every day. Every day. 4-day training day.
Yeah. Para tener, la llevaron a otro lugar para tener entrenamiento de tiempo completo.
Evening.
And evening.
4 days only?
No.
Only 4 days.
Sunday. So
Full day on.
So instead of, they always joke that Bill Gates grew up in the college famous before. I said I dropped at military school. I didn't graduate at military school.
Yes. So you dropped.
It's not dropped because I was selected to do
Yeah, right.
that.
Okay,
You
Ah.
studied much more than any of us.
Ella dice, yo a veces siento que cuando me dicen de planito tan exitoso y no terminó la escuela y es millonario. Dice, bueno, yo a veces me siento como cuando hablan, me identifico, digamos, cuando esta gente que no terminó la escuela. Pero en realidad la llevaron a un entrenamiento especial, no es que no terminó la escuela. No terminó la escuela normalmente, no, bueno, ¿se entiende?
So my professional team coach, they're professionals. Before that, I was teachers, the beginner.
Ahora, entonces, en este nuevo entrenamiento tenía profesores profesionales. Y antes
Yeah.
era una diferencia con antes que tenían amateurs, profesores
Yeah.
amateurs.
In the provincial team, we would have two teachers. They both professional. Very good player.
En el equipo provincial tenían de un quinto, sexto round de profesores.
Yeah. So in the professional team that so the teacher will tell you what to do. They pair present teammates. I think it's about less than one more than. So the students
Tenían el grupo de 10, 12 estudiantes y el profesor les decía todos los días, ellos decían lo que iban a hacer.
So the teacher normally will pair you to play games, and then afterward, the teacher will review your game.
El profesor decía con quién jugabas y después realizaba los partidos.
So right now you were selected already, right? Like you were selected and dropped from school. This was at what age?
12.
12.
Yeah.
A los 12 años entró a esta academia más avanzada.
So and this academy was like a national place where all students from
No, this is not national team. That was the next
Provincial.
provincial. So we have a
Oh, I see.
30,000 in China.
Hay 30 provincias en China, esta sería el instituto de esa provincia.
But my provincial team is a huge outlaw.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
it's
Una provincia muy grande.
So each province is in charge of selecting players,
yeah, so
and that's like the way that like young kids get selected.
yes, they select their only the young kids that are in their province. You cannot select other people. In China, I don't know if you guys know the whole system. So if you are born in this city and you have like a certificate in the city, you cannot easily move to Beijing or other city.
Wow.
Entonces está muy dividido en regiones políticamente, digamos, y socialmente China. En China, si naciste en una región y tenés documentos de esa región, no es fácil que puedas mudarte a otra región.
But yeah, that was at the time, 1970s, 80s, the 90s, even 20s. I think it's like that, but nowadays it's totally different.
Pero ahora es muy diferente.
So
It's now easier to move up.
yeah, now you can easier. So what happened is if you move around, because you have that certificate, that if you are not belong to this city, you can hardly to find a job or your kid will hardly go to school.
Today?
No,
Yes,
yeah,
okay.
back then.
Claro,
But
si tenías la
now,
documentación de otra provincia y además metieron a los chicos en la escuela.
now it's just money.
Claro, ahora la cuestión es otra.
You don't need, yeah. So anyway, I was your certificate or what? So that you get paid to study this. So you have a salary.
Entonces, como tenía solo 12 años e iba a tener un salario para estudiar, tenía que conseguir una documentación que le permitiera que le pagaran por trabajar, y siendo su trabajo rendir.
and your food is covered, they pay for
te
your
pagan
food,
la
and
comida.
they provide a dorm, and they even gave you uniforms. It's like a school thing.
Wow.
It's
Comida, todo lavando con todo, y sueldo. So the system in every province is identical or very similar.
everywhere.
Okay, todas las provincias son iguales, los mismos métodos.
Okay, so and
No solo por igual al en general, a tu vida.
Claro,
Dice para todos los deportes.
claro.
Digo, si yo me quiero mudar a otro lado, porque me quiero mudar, no solo.
El tema de mudar dijo que era igual, el tema del es igual, el resto de las cosas no le pregunto.
so when I was 15 years old, I was selected to teach in 15.
Okay. Entonces fue elegida para el equipo nacional cuando llegó a los 15.
Vincent.
So this is you became pro at 15 or you were chosen to the national team?
Think we say
Right.
Oh,
Claro.
so that
Como sería oficialmente un pago a los 12, jugar Go considera que ella fue profesional desde los 12 años.
So
Después vino la selección para el equipo nacional en vez de provincial.
La pregunta es si actualmente siguen los chicos cobrando por.
Y nowadays, do 12-year-olds still get paid to play and study Go?
now it's totally different. Now we have a lot of schools run by private schools, and you have to pay the schools. And if you are good at when you are 12, and then you probably get maybe not get the pay, but you might get to selected to some team, and they give you free training. And if your keep getting stronger, and eventually you'll get paid.
Entonces, claro, la cosa ahora es distinta. Para entrar en la escuela especial a lo que entró a los 12 años, se paga, y si sos bueno, te empiezan a elegir para equipo. Cuando te eligen para equipo, entonces probablemente dentro del equipo recibas entrenamiento gratuito ya, y eventualmente empiezas a ganar torneos y ahí ganas plata.
I would say this system, the system that I was experiencing last probably in the late 1980s. By the time 90s, it's kind of get changed, but very slowly. Then the recent couple of decades, it's totally different. You have to pay to study, but once you really good, you get hired.
Entonces, ella, digamos, ella vio este sistema que ella experimentó más o menos en los 80s. Ya para los 90s fue gradual, hacia los 90s el cambio. And when will you say that? Is there a point? So the change was gradual. Was there a point when you say, okay, from now on, it's like all private?
Say around the 2000, after 2000, like 2005, by that time there are not many, but there's several very good Go schools, and they train young professionals. And so the old system kind of faded, and the government doesn't want to pay that much. They said that you have to depend on yourself. So they don't have money from government. So when we get paid,
O sea, en los tempranos 2000 de 2000 a 2005 aparecieron escuelas privadas muy fuertes, y todo el programa nacional, digamos, público, fue desvaneciéndose. So,
I would say it's after 2000, and it still keeps changing. So now it's more rely on not government at all, the sponsorship companies pay to pay the team to train and use their name just like
Right.
sponsor.
Okay, not just prizes, not just tournament prizes.
Right.
Sponsorship.
Right.
Entonces, claro, hoy en día es muy privado, no hay nada, digamos, estatal, pero está el tema que las compañías privadas sponsorean. Entonces,
Yeah.
no es que dependes del premio, sino que vas teniendo el sponsoreo.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that when I was a student, there's not many resources. There's no internet. There's no even many go books.
Claro, cuando ella empezó, no había internet y además no había tantos libros.
I remember when I was professional team, we were very excited that every month we see a Go magazine from Japan as called the Gold Club, and then there's a Keto. There was something Kantai. Yeah, it was like a monthly magazine, and that's all.
Ellos se ponían muy contentos, se alegraban mucho y se entusiasmaban cuando recibían periódicamente las revistas de Go y diarios de Go de Japón.
There's not many Chinese books at all. I remember the Gosengen's black opening and white opening. That's it.
Gosengen from China. Like, is he not originally from China?
He's originally from China, and we only have a book that each book has the black opening and the white opening. That's it. And by that time, he was these.
But as a player, like he was your nephew.
Yes, yes. It's definitely.
Okay, yo no veían como la estrella de ellos a Gosengen en Japón, y sí, que era la estrella. Pero lo que ellos están queriendo decir es que realmente no había muchos libros y que había un libro de Gosengen que hablaba de la apertura de blanco, la apertura de negro, pero nada, no más.
So I didn't realize at the time, but later I realized. So my provincial team that my teacher did not have a lot of resources like health problems compared to like the Shanghai team. They're very emphasized to do problem solving.
Ella notaba que el equipo provincial de ella no tenía muchos recursos para hacer, por ejemplo, problemas de vida y muerte. En cambio, el equipo provincial de Shanghái sí tenía y ellos se enfocaban muchísimo en los problemas de vida y muerte.
And it will make huge difference in the long run. In the beginning, you might not feel there's much difference, and it's huge difference. And Shanghai has a lot of very excellent software.
Entonces, y el no hacer problemas de vida y muerte, no, al principio no se ve tanta diferencia y en el largo plazo de lo profesional sí se ve mucha diferencia.
I have a question regarding grading. So, like, right before you became pro and while you were pro, were there like ranks or was it by order or who was the strongest?
Había rangos, niveles como Q-Dan.
Sorry, I didn't quite.
Like, did you do 3P or 4P and the rank system to know how strong you were?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good question. We did not. China was quite behind on Go. So basically, they're just amateurs by themselves. And then only with this marshal, this high level politician, really. And then we started gradually to have follow the school system. So we started to have the rank system.
Al principio la diferencia con el mundo japonés de Go era muy grande y solo cuando no sé si es Marshall, no sé qué nivel militar es, general, ¿no? Sí.
We started the rank system in 1982.
Okay. Claro, en el 82, para el 80 estaba empezando ella y en el 82 recién empezó el sistema de los rankings de equidad. Antes era tipo amateurs.
Actually, Ningwei didn't play the amateur.
Yeah, he cheated. Many cheated.
Really?
Yeah, because we don't have any tournament to play. So anything that can bring a champion back, and then there's a lot of medium to, yeah. So they will say they pretend that they're not professional. Of course, they're professional. Yes, yeah, that's just Easter.
Hay una anécdota de New Ping que jugó el torneo amateur para aquella época, siendo antes ya un gran campeón. Pero dice, bueno, fue una trampa que hicieron porque se solía pasar que de repente, si había un evento que iba a traer un montón de público, bueno, lo hacían, lo arreglaban y lo hacían. Entonces, sí, New Ping toma jugar.
So when 1982, when we started, we certified 3 professional 9,000.
From the provincial.
No, from the national one.
From by what year?
82. That's the year we started.
Okay, cuando inauguraron el sistema argentino, pusieron, o sea, nominaron a 3 novenos grandes profesionales.
So, Nye Weiping is one.
82.
Chen Zhude, he was a former professional, and he was also famous for his Chinese opening.
Oh, yes.
And another one is Wu Shongsheng. Unfortunately, Wu Shongsheng and Chen Zhude all passed away because of age and illness.
Esos 3 nombres que dio son profesionales. En medio, perdón, sorry, the one in the second one, you said something. Okay. Ese hizo mucho desarrollo de teoría de apertura. Y el tercero.
Was this after New Being won against the Japanese in the international tournament?
That was in 1983. I think that you are talking about this, the Sino, China, Japan, Super Go.
Yeah.
That was 1983.
Also, it was right before that. Yes, this is 82 and 83 Super Go match.
Bueno, habla de un torneo famoso.
Es que hubo un evento que es en el que Li Weiping por primera vez le ganó a los japoneses profesionales y fue zapado. O sea, a Li Weiping lo recibió el presidente en el aeropuerto y lo pasearon con flores en un país de miles de personas.
Yeah, now when you say this, I now have second thought. Maybe 83, maybe 84, 85, but about that time. So 82, he was so strong at the time. Of course, he doesn't need to play a certification tournament. So we certified, and it was certified a couple 8 down, and certified a couple of 7 down, according to your tournament result. So by that time, I was applying for them.
Claro, para esa altura del 84, ella estaba tratando de que la certifiquen como cuarto grado.
So my teacher recommended this, really, I think she's strong as.
So you were recognized. Did you have to
play the tournament?
Okay. Entonces, lo que pasó es que su profesor dijo, esta persona, yo creo que tiene fuerza de cuarto dan. Entonces, en el torneo se inscribe como cuarto dan y tiene que tener el nivel, tiene que salir con resultado acorde. What age were you at the 84?
82. That was
82. Okay.
82. I think I was 16.
Wow. She said.
So how did you know you were like for them? Did you compete against other countries?
No, I didn't know. Because we've been playing tournament after tournament.
Okay.
So they will compare what this player is gonna register for. And then if you're about the same level, you're gonna play. It's not like they recommend you are gonna be. You have to compete and win a certain percentage in order to stay as a.
Did you have the opportunity to play against for example, Japanese professional players, and then
No,
compare?
at the time we have a very, very limited international event.
Oh, I see.
Foreigners, almost. If you are the top 10 in the country, you might get it one chance, once a year chance to play international.
So, so the national team is national league. Because you play
National
on-
team, no, it's not. The national team is the team. It's like a football team. You live together,
Train.
you eat together, you train together, you play the same together.
Wow.
Okay, so, sí, o sea, me perdí porque hice una pregunta y
¿Crees que
No, estoy bien. No, pasa que me hice una pregunta y sobreescribí lo que estaba preguntando. Básicamente lo que estaba diciendo es que lo de cuarto, o sea, el profesor lo reconoce como cuarto dan por comparación con lo que juega otro jugador que por ahí es certificado como cuarto dan, y entonces dice, bueno, esta persona es cuarto dan, esa es la recomendación que hace al anotarlo en el torneo como cuarto dan, y para quedar oficial como cuarto dan, tiene que ganar un porcentaje del partido.
¿Puedo contar un detalle? Lo que decía también es que las chances de jugar en el exterior eran muy reducidas. Solamente los 10 mejores jugadores tenían la chance de quizás una vez al año competir internacionalmente. Y el resto, el equipo nacional, vivían juntos, o sea, un equipo de fútbol nacional donde entrenaban juntos, porque fueron en el Senac, pero bien, están todo el tiempo entrenando juntos. Básicamente era la dinámica.
So yeah, so we're living with little sports stars, like the football players and like the basketball players, swimming team, diving team.
So you need to know the other sports.
Yes. When you get
Convivían,
the area, when you
convivían
say,
con los equipos nacionales de básquet, fútbol, etc.
Oh, sí.
yeah. So that was really memorable and really interesting. Badminton, I remember. Team, ping pong team, gymnastic team.
Un recuerdo muy agradable para...
We're all live in the same building, eating in the first floor in the same cafeteria, area, bumping into people.
Se encontraban todo el tiempo, vivían en el mismo compartían lugares para comer.
I lived there longer than those players because they are just change all the time. Every 2 years they have a new players and they replace the old players, and the golf players just keep playing.
Otras disciplinas, los deportes, pero los de Go se quedaban siempre ahí y siempre una carrera más larga.
Been in the national team for 18 years until I came to United States South.
18 años en este equipo nacional hasta que se fue a Estados Unidos.
So it's an amazing experience for me, and I have to say from time to time, especially when I was a teenager, especially after I win my first, only the women's champion, 16,
Wow.
2003, and then I kind of stopped. And I was just so frustrated. I wish I didn't study. And I was doing something else.
You won the tournament and then you got...
I won the women's championship.
Okay.
National championship.
Tiene el recuerdo de cuando en el 83 ganó el torneo de mujeres, pero después sintió que se fue quedando estancada y eso la fue frustrando.
So, did you start right after you won?
Pretty much. I think one of the reasons is that I was actually at the time the youngest women to win the national champion on record.
Fue la mujer más joven en ganar el torneo.
But then I had an expectation that good player and I should continue to win the games, but it wasn't.
Claro. Quedó con una expectativa de que iba a crecer mucho más y ganar más partidos y no resultó.
Most of the reason is that we compete with the male players.
Claro, una de las razones es que competían también con los varones.
That's good or bad, because if you get frustrated, you lose the game. But that also train us to become a stronger player.
Eso tiene su bueno y lo malo. O sea, tiene lo bueno de que, o sea, tiene lo malo de que hay más frustración, lo bueno de que te fortalece mucho más.
So the only tournament that I played with women player is the women's championship. Everything else is played with a man.
Entonces, solamente está el campeonato femenino que juega con mujeres y los demás juegan con varones.
Yes, I remember this lady to Korea was the strongest woman in China, I think, and she won against a 9-dan Japanese player.
Yes.
Which was?
Green Island.
Yeah, Green Isle, yeah.
Yeah.
And did you get the same chance to travel and compete against? Yeah.
She's the second.
Highway salió segunda con
If you check the internet and the history of 1983, the World Chinese Women Championship, they gave you all the people's place. I'm first. I'm the second.
Claro,
And 9
a ella la reconocen. Ella es la segunda, se reconocida, no.
There's only 2.
Did it happen the same to you?
Y son las únicas dos 9-dan mujeres en China.
Amazing. Really amazing.
And we were roommates for 4 years.
Nowadays, you're the only 2
In China,
Yes.
I believe so.
hoy en día.
And when I was becoming the only 2 women 9-dan players in the world.
Cuando ella se la reconocieron como 9º dan, era la segunda del mundo.
¿Por qué se fue a Estados Unidos?
And why did you go to the US?
Oh, that's by accident.
Por accidente.
Yeah, wasn't for golf. So that was a family reason. I went to I came with my family, and I asked my national team coach. I said that go pretty much desert in US. What can I do as a professional golf player? Can you keep the space for me for 2 years? If it doesn't work out, I'll come back.
Okay, so
For the national.
entonces, había una oportunidad. So there was an opportunity to do something on the US for you.
No, it wasn't. It's my family. I was totally housewife when I came to US.
So you came with your husband.
Yeah, I wasn't sure it will work out, so I asked.
So it was for love.
Entonces ella estaba casada y viajó a Estados Unidos con su marido, porque su marido tenía que ir a Estados Unidos y necesitaba seguir. Ella era ama de casa, era esposa full time, y entonces le dijo a su entrenador, quiero ver si esto va a funcionar así como estoy viviendo, y por las dudas me podrían guardar el equipo en el lugar del equipo nacional.
De sueños.
So he keep 5 years.
Wow.
Y le guardó.
You are the strongest.
Yeah. It's a night with trade down. So let's talk about that. So I think.
Claro, se habló de que se había ido del país y ahora había otra 9º dan y también se había ido del país. Entonces se hablaba de ese tema.
We left the country in different reasons, so I think my team has less pressure because the family reasons.
Se fueron por razones diferentes, entonces las razones más familiares de ella eran como más comprendidas en su provincia.
Yeah, so I do wanted to mention that when I play, what do we call the OT? Probably the Japanese term is OTI, the tournament that you're gonna win and the percentage to get to the next rank. So that was only 12 games per year. Only 12 games per year in order to get promoted from 8-dan to 9-dan. You have to play at least 24 games. At least 24 games. Doesn't matter
And so there were only 2 games for per
12.
12. So to raise from 8 down to 9 down, you needed
24.
24. Okay, entonces se jugaba del torneo que se organizaba, tenía 12 partidos por año, pero para pasar de octavo a noveno dan, digamos, necesitaba 24 partidos para pasar al nivel.
So if you become a one down, you only play 12 games, you win 8 and 1 down. So 2 down, maybe you needed 14 games. So by the time you were 8 down to 9 down, you will need to the basic game you needed to have is 20.
En niveles más bajos, por ahí se necesitan 9, 14 partidos para ir creciendo, pero a la hora de llegar de octavo a noveno son 24 partidos los que necesitas dentro de estos ganados, dentro de estos torneos que tienen 12 partidos por año.
So in order to get promoted at least 2 years, if you're
Perfect.
but people who fight for their lifetime, they may not get to because the percentage is 75. You have to work 75.
Claro. So, además de acumular estas victorias, el porcentaje de victorias tiene que mantenerse por lo menos en 75. Entonces hay gente que juega y va tratando de acumular victorias, pero en toda la vida no llega a pasar ciertos niveles.
Some people have to lose in order for you to get to promoted.
Algunos tienen que perder para que otros sean promovidos. Sí, no todos. Perfecto, sí.
Todos los partidos son el 5%.
75%. Tienen que acumular 24 victorias. Siempre se evalúa que tengas
24 partidos y tienes 75%.
Claro, eso es.
you need to have like 18 victories at least on the 24 matches, or the 24 victories in the 24 matches.
No, 75. Yeah, you can.
No, yeah.
Every game you lost, you have to win 3 games to get it. And it becomes consecutive. You cannot say 6 games, I'll get rid of the 6 games. Consecutive 20.
Ok, entonces tenés que mirar lo que
Es mucho
hace.
más fácil. Sí.
Entonces, en un periodo de N partidos que va creciendo, o sea, empiezas con 9 y terminas con 24 partidos, tiene que hacer un periodo consecutivo de 24 partidos y el 75% ganados.
Very, it's the only tournament you don't get a pay, not even penny, but it's the hardest tournament. But we compete that tournament for honor. So all my opponents are.
Entonces, ese es el torneo en el que no ganas plata, pero es por el honor y se juega mucho, entonces todos sus oponentes eran varones.
So now you are a professional of the United States. Hay una liga.
Are you a pro in the United States?
No, I'm still. There's no United States for. I'm professional, but I think if I train, China trains professional 9 down, so I carry that. Because I'm still 9 down.
O sea,
Nice.
No compiten.
ok, entonces está internacionalmente reconocida como 9 dan profesional. No, is there any league in the United States?
Yes, that's the news that
Okay.
started. That's
You participate in
No,
no, ella nunca participó en la liga del profesionalismo, digamos, de Estados Unidos. Ella mantiene y es reconocida internacionalmente como noveno dan profesional chino.
Se dedica a
Diferencia entre el 9P hombre y el 9P mujer.
Is there a difference between a male 9P and female 9P?
No, we're competing in the same system. As I said, all my players, when I try to become from A down, all my opponents are men players.
And the 75% in 24 matches is the same for both.
Yes, it's the same.
Divisiones son para ambos y competían juntos.
And I don't even. Yeah, at the time he was 8 down. Competing for 9 down. I actually beat him and to become 9 down. And it was I beat him, and then I went and the next game became 9 down. But I picked the game that I played him because he was a racing star to give a game commentary to put the Go World Chinese, the biweekly magazine, and because that's a big thing, especially for I was the 20th 9 down China.
Ella fue la 20ª noveno dan en China y cuando estaba yendo hacia noveno dan, jugó con uno que era famoso ya en el momento, o sea, ya era famoso y al llegar, o sea, después de ese partido, o sea, ella, so you won to that player.
Yeah, I beat that player.
You beat that player, and you were already 9-9.
No, I beat that player. I still need another win. Then I'm going to say that.
Okay, so ella jugó contra esta persona, le ganó, necesitaba todavía otro partido más para que la reconocieran como noveno dan, pero perdió en el medio y después volvió a ganar, pero igual eligió el periodo para que la reconozcan, el periodo de éxito lo eligió dentro de lo que, digamos, que quedara esa victoria dentro de ese periodo, para que en el registro y además en la revista pudieran decir, bueno, dentro de estos son los partidos victoriosos y está el nombre de esta estrella, digamos, dentro de un partido que ganó.
Sorry, what do you think about? So I heard a lot of women were trying to go to Japan and compete in the women's league, and didn't allow her because she was very strong. Did you try to do something like that?
No, I didn't. As I said, I came to US by accident. If I came, a lot of women players at the time was frustrated because we don't have a tournament. And we have to compete with men, and there's not many chances. So a lot of people just left, go to Japan for teaching because they can make.
Hay una historia de Yunai Wei que quiso jugar en la liga japonesa.
Sí, porque
y no la dejaron y él preguntó si había hecho algo así, algo por el estilo. Y le dice no, o sea, las razones por las que viajó ella fueron diferentes y por otra parte hay muchas personas que para ganar plata, o sea, fuera de China, para ganar plata, había oportunidades en Japón de ir a enseñar y hasta ahí llegamos.
porque en China no hay equipos solo de mujeres.
But Naiwei
No hay
went
equipo de las mujeres.
to Japan. She never wanted to teach. She always wanted to compete.
Claro, y ella fue buscando oportunidades en Japón y las oportunidades en Japón eran enseñando, pero ella no quería enseñar, ella había ido a competir.
She only teaches. She has to make a living, and she thinks that the teaching, especially play teaching games, we can awaken her strengths because the thinking, the way play is quite different.
Ella, Yunewei, trabaja enseñando cuando necesita la plata, pero dice que siente que hacer teaching games en realidad le baja el nivel.
So basically, that was my story, and now it's your turn to ask questions. Ask any questions about the system, training system, and I know more about the time that I was trained, and the current system I know a little bit, not 100%, and I can try to answer some of the questions as best I can. So I become 9 down. Is 19. 97.
So, ella está abierta a cualquier pregunta ahora. El sistema actual chino no tiene todos los detalles. Ella se hizo noveno dan en
97.
97, en el 97 fue noveno.
I went the women's national champion in 1995, but I wasn't happy to become a 9 down. So I think that's really accomplishment of the year. And although I don't get any reward, I mean,
Claro.
money.
Ella había ganado ya en el 83, creo que dijo, el campeonato femenino.
95.
En el 95 había ganado, el provincial el otro. Había ganado en el 95 el nacional femenino, el femenino,
International.
el
Yeah.
femenino internacional, pero para ella su victoria más grande es haber conseguido el título de noveno dan, porque eso además es compitiendo tanto contra varones. Es abierto a varones y mujeres, pero entre tanto varones.
Okay, that's pretty much my story and a little bit along the line that
Do you nowadays in the US regularly teach?
yeah, I teach all the time. In fact, I have to cancel, postpone a lot of lessons in order to come here.
Okay, ella está muy activa en este momento en Estados Unidos enseñando.
Yeah, to make a lot of arrangements and make up the lessons.
Fue un tema arreglar la agenda para el Congreso.
So,
Thank you.
so came to US and continue as a professional competitor. I could play in a competition. So basically, I switched to teaching, more focused on teaching.
Entonces, como sabía que desde los Estados Unidos no iba a poder continuar su carrera como competitiva, entonces se enfocó en enseñar.
That's quite different than professional Go player play tournament yourself. Because when you play your game, like tournament, all you need to focus is what I and you know what you want to do. But when you teach, you have to explain to the students why you wanted to do that. That I'm taking into yeah. So because I just know that's the right move as a player. I wanted to play that, but why? Why do you don't know why? I just know that's right.
Es mucha diferencia enseñar a jugar, porque cuando enseña tiene que enfocarse en el por qué uno debería jugar en un lugar o en otro. En cambio, ella cuando juega ni se pregunta por qué, o sea, siente la jugada correcta.
Yeah, now you have to explain to the students why and make them to understand. So it's interestingly, when I was in the national team, I don't know if you know the kind of the Chinese culture that the young students and or the people like me, he was the main coach of the national team.
Cuando ella estaba en el equipo nacional, está recordando cosas de la cultura china que no sabes si sabemos. El entrenador era Wei,
Yeah.
coach of the.
I never I remember I never and I don't remember anybody else.
Cuando ella estudió para profesional, para profesional en el equipo nacional con Wei Ping de coach, ella jamás le preguntó por qué una jugada y no recuerda a alguien que le haya preguntado por qué una jugada.
So he's a really genius player, and also when we play games, that he will review some of the games, and then when you ask in this situation, what should I do? You will put the stone down. No one asked why.
Entonces, las revisiones eran qué hacer en este momento, entonces él ponía la piedra sin preguntas.
And in the beginning, I'm kind of, I first arrived and, I was one of the youngest team. And there was just one player that is 3 days younger than me, but we're the youngest. So
Ella era por 3 días la jugadora, la estudiante más joven en el equipo.
questions.
Muy bastante rico.
And
Tenía muchísimas preguntas.
if you ask why, everyone will look at you.
Claro, por eso decía que es como una cosa cultural china. O sea, si vos te estás lleno de preguntas, pero en ese contexto, si preguntas un por qué, todo el mundo te miraría.
You can't figure this out.
No te das.
I was really not used to it. That's quite different than the provincial team that I had a teacher. It's so nice to us, and it just explain everything, and it's ready to answer any question. But with the national team, no one's gonna teach you. You learn by watching.
So the provincial one explained
The provincial team. We try to tap him, and we're just so close.
Okay, el clima en el provincial era completamente diferente. Se podía preguntar. Y hasta conserva una relación de amistad con su coach del provincial.
Like I came here, I would pick some pictures.
Sí, te ponen los fotos.
And he said, can you send me more some pictures of the tournament? So I take tournament picture to send it to him.
Y le sigue mandando fotos de este torneo a su
Almost
coach
80 years.
de cuando tenía 8 años. Did you show him pictures of the young, the other
Cheers. But in the national team, it's really tough. Not
el nivel, no, el entorno del equipo nacional era duro, era algo menos más.
So people don't ask why questions directly, but they are allowed to, what if I played the answer this way and that way? By doing that, we actually understand
Claro, o
it
sea,
doesn't.
Claro, se evita preguntar directamente por qué eso, pero directamente lo que se hace es decir, ¿y qué pasa? ¿Y entonces qué pasaría si esta otra? Y ahí van descubriendo el por qué.
So basically, when you are in national team, no one's gonna hold your hand. You're on your own.
La idea es que nadie te va a llevar de la mano.
No one asks you to study. You don't have to study.
Ajá, nadie te pidió que estudiaras, así que, ¿qué quieres? Estudiar.
Yeah, so the only time you need to show up is when each one that they make a pair, so you have to show up to play. Other than that, no one care what you're doing.
Wow.
However, in the end of the year, they will look at who did well, who didn't do well. The ones that did not do well will kick back to your provincial team.
Les importaba cuán bien te desarrollabas. Y lo demás no les importaba nada. Y llegaba la evaluación donde miraban a quién le había ido bien en los resultados y a quién no. Y el que no fue bien en los resultados se acababa incluso para esta persona.
If you are kicked back to your team, basically it's end of career.
Claro, te mandaban del nacional de vuelta para el provincial y si volvías al provincial era como que ya tu carrera se había acabado.
All my life, I only know one player come back second time.
En toda su vida conoció a un jugador que llegó a volver del provincial, o sea, provincial nacional, provincial y de vuelta nacional.
Yeah, so basically, top player stay.
Claro, si querés ser un top player, tenés que quedarte en la
You have- And more of games gonna play in Beijing, whereas they don't have to travel. It's just make it impossible for us.
And you stayed 18 years.
18 years. And I could stay there probably for a long time.
Claro, ella estás en el Nacional por 18 años y tal vez habrías estado más tiempo de no ser por causas familiares en Estados Unidos.
Nowadays, what do you think? Do you enjoy teaching, or would you have liked to stay competing as your goal?
Oh, well, competing is almost impossible for me. For competing, you really have to play a lot of tournaments. So when you play the tournaments and every game that it need to win, otherwise you will basically end up with tournaments. And that's your livelihood. You guys seriously. And that gives you different mentality, the focus, and the really to like it's doing.
La pregunta era si hoy en día siente que le disfrutaría más compitiendo que enseñando. La respuesta fue que el competir sería imposible en este momento, que tendrías que estar todo el tiempo en el entorno de competencia.
By coming to US or countries, you would have to.
Y eso no hay oportunidades en el oeste. But did you come to enjoy teaching as much as competing?
To be honest, I enjoy more as a Go player.
Ah,
Teaching is not easy. Yeah, so I do think
Okay. Ella dice, la verdad que se divertía, le disfrutaba mucho siendo jugadora. Y dijo, enseñar no es fácil. So, sorry, for us, saying that playing Go at pro level is easier than teaching.
I depend on myself, but the teaching I have to depends on the students to learn. I can give all my knowledge to my best to teach the player, but if the player doesn't want to make efforts to learn, there's nothing I can do.
Okay, because you're thinking about your students' win percentage.
Actually, because I was trained as a professional player, and I really want everyone, not everyone become a pro, but I wanted them to take Go as seriously.
Ok, entiendo. Entonces, claro, la dificultad está en que tiene como gana, o sea, cuando juega, por empezar, está por su cuenta, entonces depende de ella el éxito. Cuando enseña, su éxito depende del estudiante, porque ella tiene la necesidad o el interés porque el chico aprenda todo eso que hay para aprender.
Just more than 2 decades. I can think of like a handful of students that I.
Ella, en todo este tiempo que tuvo
You can count.
handful. En todo este tiempo ella tiene en la cabeza cuenta con los dedos de la mano la cantidad de alumnos con los que realmente disfrutó la enseñanza.
So the reason that I have a young player we talked about, he came to me when he was 8 years old as a beginner, and he was in my beginner class, quickly moved on to the higher level. And
Uno de estos estudiantes, cuando tenía 8 años, vino a su clase de principiantes y empezó a crecer muy rápido.
And the parents, he's very interested in the game. The parents was very supportive. And
Él estaba muy interesado en el juego y los padres lo apoyaban.
so he was in my weekly class, the lesson that was in person.
Él estaba en su clase semanal, personal o presencial.
In the meantime, they added private lessons once a week.
Y a eso le agregaron una uno en uno, digamos, one-on-one, una vez a la semana. So
Yeah.
2 times a week.
Well, no, one time is in class, one is 1 hour,
Right.
is private lesson, one hour online. Although we're 15 minutes away, but we're.
Ahora está, y ahora sigue online, pero bueno, sí ese es el ritmo. 2 veces por semana, una vez con la clase semanal y otra vez con la clase particular semanal.
Yeah, we've been doing this the whole time. And this year, he becomes the youngest part one down. It was 14 years.
Claro, y este chico llegó diga, joven, ¿verdad?
El más joven.
en la historia.
Y el más joven de los profesionales. También
So, it's if when I encounter students like that, I really enjoy because I can see this kid is a scholar. He wanted to learn. He did a lot more work by himself than when he spent time with me. So he already prepared these lessons.
Ella disfrutaba ver el desarrollo de este chico que trabajaba incluso por su cuenta más de lo que trabajaba con ella, y por lo tanto ya hasta básicamente tenía las clases preparadas.
Yeah, but very.
Muy
No.
raro. So you say that nowadays you have a handful of
No, I mean, the 20 years students.
15 años. O sea,
You can use your finger.
claro. Chicos de este nivel que son los que toda enseñanza, a lo largo de 20 años se encontró 4.
It's not like
Con los dedos de una mano.
it's not like the people they are not smart, not talented, but they're restricted. For example, adults at the first time they have work commitment because their family couldn't commit time to self.
Hay muchas razones por las que muchos chicos no pueden alcanzar ese nivel, que tiene que ver con el apoyo de los padres, el tiempo de los padres. Sí, pero creo que está hablando de que las razones no siempre son el talento, sino que además está el tiempo y el apoyo que le pueden dar los padres.
Lots of young players, they're very smart, talented. They just choose not to continue something else, like match on.
Muchos chicos tienen mucho talento, se les ve, pero en ese momento deciden no seguir, porque como pasa con el deporte olímpico, por ejemplo.
They said it's much easier than golf.
So they go to the Olympic sport.
Olympic competition. It's not easier than.
Entonces, se cambian muchas veces a las Olimpiadas de Matemática, que dicen que son mucho más fáciles que el
We actually have the coach of the Argentinian programming team here. ¿Está Agustín por acá?
Ah,
Oh.
thank you. Oh, estoy cansado.
Interesting.
Yes, very interesting.
Thank you.
There was a one time. Chess Blackbird. He's the amateur in chess, amateur in Go. He's not very good, but he like her. This is my second husband. He likes to play the chess sets. It was one time they had a chess collector meeting, and they invited the one of the oldest board, the oldest or the second, the youngest.
El marido actual, que se fue Marín, colecciona cosas de ajedrez, juega amateur ajedrez, juega amateur Go, no es un gran jugador de ninguno de los dos, y empezó la anécdota con eso, pero habló de 3 hermanas que yo no
No,
conozco.
hay un jugador profesional de ajedrez que a sus 2 hijas mayores las crió para ser profesionales de ajedrez. Son muy conocidos.
Yeah.
Ah,
La mayor de ellas
lo que está en
Polgar.
I was came when they learned
En una reunión de coleccionistas de ajedrez.
they wanted me to talk about it. It was very interesting.
Polgar, el Polgar se estaba muy interesada en el Go y en el rendimiento.
We had a discussion that, and she was with her happily. The discussion after the meeting, she said that nowadays the chess player they study opening a lot. They don't do the end game. I think the chess end game is our like problems, and she said that just so important for us to do. Like to do the end game for them and for me, for us, Go players. And then did I mention? I think I interesting. Like I was stuck after become. I was 5 after the time, 83. When my national championship at that time, that was the highest I can
Cuando, sí, okay, en el 83 you won the women's.
The women's, and I was 5.
Okay. Era en el 83, Quinto Dan ganó el torneo nacional de mujeres.
And then I stuck for 2-3 years. I was stuck in the 5 down. I couldn't.
Se quedó estancada en Quinto Dan por 2 años.
So and then my colleague in the national team that points out that I'm very weak and like that's problems.
Y un colega le dijo, es que sos muy débil en los problemas de vida y muerte. Recién estaba hablando de que una de las cosas que había hablado en esta reunión con Polgar era que hay todo un tema con estudiar en ajedrez, endgame. El endgame aparentemente estudiar endgame aparentemente es similar a estudiar vida y muerte. Entonces estaban hablando de eso y por eso pasa esto, de que pasa esta anécdota de que ella, cuando se estancó, su colega le dijo, es que te falta por vida y muerte.
So at that time, what happened is they realized I didn't know because you really don't know your own weakness, and I didn't know. I didn't realize. I thought I know these strategies, I think attacking all of these. Of course, I know. And then what they find, I know maybe the first 3-4 moves, but then what will happen in the end, I couldn't read through. So what they did is that they start from very simple life and death problems. They find even the simple problems I sometimes got wrong, and so we just have this drill. Like I spend 3 to 3.5 hours every day, besides the study during the day, playing games or studying. Besides that, I sit. After dinner, I spend 3.5 hours every day playing like
Entonces, claro, cuando descubrieron esta falencia, empezaron un entrenamiento, un ritmo de después de la cena, después de todo el entrenamiento del día, después de la cena, 3 horas, 3 horas y media haciendo vida y muerte, porque habían descubierto, o sea, después de esto, que ella conocía y se roba ojos, Han, etcétera, como ciertos descubrimientos para resolver problemas, pero que cuando como que no estaba viendo el final del problema. Entonces empezaron con esta disciplina de entrenamiento.
So the next tournament that I played is the OTI tournament that you become. Right? So there were 12 games. I won 11.
Entonces, y para el próximo de estos torneos de subir de ranking que después ya jugó, de los 12 partidos del torneo, que ya ganó 11.
I used to own, if I win 4 or 5 games, like that kind of ratio. Now I'm starting and I start to see moves when I play. I wait it out. If I have the confidence, if I can lead this game just by a little bit, maybe 2.5 points, and I can win all the way. It's just that clear to me because I can see what's coming. But without that training,
Entonces cambió completamente el nivel de ella porque mientras iba jugando veía mucho mejor lo que se venía, y sin ese entrenamiento nunca hubiera llegado a ser.
so the two teammates who helped me, they may not even know how much they helped me. But I didn't know at the time. But I was just happy to win 11 games out of 12 with an old man. But then when I get aged or older, and I can't realize I just so great.
En el momento, o sea, tal vez no se dio cuenta porque tuvo que estudiar mucho y después vino la alegría de ganar todos esos 11 partidos, pero con el tiempo cada vez valora más el consejo que le dieron, o sea, como la crítica que le hicieron sus compañeros, los que le dijeron que sos débil como pie de muerte.
So this thing, a colleague said it to you, right? This support of like didn't the coach or maybe someone that did the coaching national team help you with this, or
No.
was everything on your own?
No, it was really hard. I remember I was talking to the next tournament when I met my provincial team coach. I said, can I go back? I want to be on the national team. I want to go back. He's holding my hand and repeating me everything. You do this and you do that. And yeah, it's so nice.
Al
And
principio
then
del cambio,
in this place that's just so harsh.
O sea, al principio, cuando pasó de provincial a nacional, sentía esta diferencia muy fuerte y le decía a su coach de la provincial, ¿puedo volver? Porque era así de duro y era tan diferente el trato. O sea, le extrañaba que la llevaran de la mano, que le explicaran más personalmente las cosas.
We have a lot. So you can go to stuff.
Tiene una biblioteca del tipo nacional, uno puede ir a buscar y a pedir prestado.
I remember at the time I studied technique. And these books, we have to study Japanese in order to study because we don't
Tenían que estudiar japonés para estudiar de los libros japoneses de Go. Y ella recuerda haber estudiado en esa época del libro de Takemiya.
Yeah, so I studied the Takemiya. This book is this thick. It's all game, clay, with a commentary. I just love it. And when I played the women's championship, I played the Takemiya. So when I won the women's championship, that I got nickname.
Lleva tanto Takemiya. Y lo que terminó adoptando la llamaron la mujer Takemiya.
He said, happy homes.
Here.
U.S. Congress, you look for a partner.
Takemiya es fan del tanque.
Yeah.
Ahí sí.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for everything.
If after one
Now time changes. Everything is different with the internet. As I said, my recent often even take him 5-6 years in the US. Barely German can speak Chinese at all. US kids and conversion this much. Yeah, that was, yes. It's actually for whoever says it wants, it goes past up.
Es posible, o sea, si queremos o vamos, si estamos dispuestos, es posible llegar a esos niveles altos gracias a Internet.
I think you have your passion to. You need a good teacher to guide you, and involve your own study.
Hay que tener,
His family support him.
hay que tener pasión, hay que estudiar, hay que tener un buen profesor. Y bueno, y con la AI muchas recursos. So, well, how important if you we have internet, we have AI, how important is the English teacher in this?
I think the big when not go strong. We will get much of the fruit. You get more than and yeah. But if you're say 1 down, 2 down, low, weaker, you don't get much of help from because even the parents when you get wrong.
Le pregunté entre poder jugar con gente por internet y tener AI o libros y un profesor, cuán importante es tener un buen profesor. Y me dice que al principio, o sea, en los niveles hasta un dan, o sea, niveles de 2 dan para abajo, digamos, es donde uno por ahí todavía, o sea, saca provecho de un buen profesor, después no tanto.
So nowadays, because we don't have, and then you have internet. The internet actually is practical service. They have your real need to play out. So you can find professionals that easily find.
Aprovechando que Fox tiene los nombres reales de los jugadores, recomienda buscarlo a los profesionales jugando en Fox.
Now I had a question. What's the difference between using AI and asking me within why he doesn't respond?
Alternatives.
Yeah, what's the difference there between the AI and having a teacher that doesn't answer why? And this is like
compared to the two.
Yeah.
I think for some for that matter, I think AI is actually more helpful. Like
but you have to be already strong.
yeah, the teacher that you don't just ask him questions casually. You actually really have to be very fair. And then when everyone is passing time, wants to review the game, and everyone just standing like this. He was sitting in the middle, and there's another player play the games, and people make the comments, and everyone just standing and watch it carefully. So I think AI can be very helpful, but keep in mind when we're in national team, we're quite strong. And you know what? Even other teammates, they don't know when we finish. The teacher, the coaches come. We'll go back and we will discuss again, and we'll say, you know, why this is good. Why can we play that? So you learn a lot from your teammates.
Esta pregunta es una comparación entre el estilo de aprendizaje con un profesor como Ni Ping, que no te contestaba nunca por qué, solo veías alternativas, y una inteligencia artificial con la que haces exactamente eso. Dice, bueno, en realidad podríamos decir que es hasta mejor la inteligencia artificial en el aspecto que podés, digamos, tiene paciencia infinita, le puedes preguntar todas las veces que quiera todo lo que quieras. En cambio, con New Ping tenías que preguntar con coherencia y con cuidado. Pero primero hay que tener en cuenta que para actuar con New Ping ya tenía que haber entrado en el nacional. Por tanto, como en esto, ¿no? abandonás al profesor ya a un alto nivel. Y segundo, que en la academia, con Ping, o sea, Ping te daba las respuestas que te daba y después se iba y los estudiantes después se reunían y decían, a ver cómo es esto, y ahí había más debate. Así que, so the group in the academy actually was maybe a big help, a teaching help.
Yeah, I think I learned much more from my teammates than from him. Because the time that I really can learn from him, he doesn't really, he's a player himself. He wants to focus when he's game. He doesn't really dedicate a lot of time for teaching. So, but he likes to see young players play. Yes.
For I was in the national team because you're helping each other, but you're also competing against
Yes,
each other.
yes, exactly. So some people might preserve a little bit. I don't think that they think that I'm a big threat to them. The men players, a big threat to them. So I think, and sometimes you just really just kind of watch and learn, right? So try to understand. I remember if I learn something, I'll go back to like use your paper to write it down and write my notes. Why this is good, why this move just one line difference makes such a huge difference. And I probably never go back to look at my notes, but at the time, even just write it down and go.
La pregunta que había hecho yo era sobre que en aprender con Ping, que era menos práctico que la inteligencia artificial, era muy beneficioso la academia y el debate con gente y el campo, toda la concentración que había en el equipo, digamos, para aprender, como un bootcamp, digamos. Y de lo que preguntó él era, bueno, pero ¿cómo era esto de que vivían juntos y eran estudiantes compañeros, pero al mismo tiempo eran competidores? Y le dice, bueno, no me veía como una amenaza, pero y yo muchas veces simplemente escuchaba y tomaba apunte por escrito de algunas cosas, de conclusiones a las que se llegaban.
How do you think games are played before AI? After AI, sorry, because before, uh, how can I say? It's like Go players are like artists. All the game is a soft art, and now every game is like the same moves. Same as say this is the best move. All the players play these moves.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and before it's like I would like this move. It's a crazy move, but it's my style. Do you understand?
For example, if a successful tournament player winning a lot of games with Chinese opening, there's a lot of people who will play Chinese opening with kind of sometimes I consider that's like a fashion. It's not like other openings are not good. It's just like when one player is very successful and that's his famous player winning game with a certain Tsuji or certain Joseki or openings, and then the other players gonna follow. So nowadays there's AI, right? So they will follow AI. In some ways, I think the AI kind of simplified winning quite a lot. Doesn't mean the classic you shouldn't learn the classic opening because you can learn a lot of shapes and patterns from those things that you are useful, and the only you can combine them. I think that just.
Si entendí bien la pregunta, tenía que ver con esto de que, en comparación con el arte, como cuando un jugador va tomando un estilo característico, hay otros que imitan estilos y se vuelven un estilo como en común entre varios jugadores. Y entonces lo que ella dice es que sí, que algo así pasa, suele pasar cuando un jugador tiende a jugar algo, o sea, con su propio estilo y además es exitoso, entonces otros jugadores tienden a probar ese tiro, entonces se crea este estilo en común. Y que la inteligencia artificial ahora un poco tiene ese lugar, entonces muchos juegan con ese estilo y el resultado es que la inteligencia artificial simplificó mucho la apertura sobre todo.
Thank you so much.
Gracias, de nada.
So good luck with the rest of the games.